Welcome to Lantern Light. There is nothing you need to remember and nothing you need to keep track of. You may drift in and out of the words. The story will remain quiet beside you. You arrive at the edge of the shore path where the land meets the headland, just a few steps above the waterline. You have come here without hurry, drawn by nothing more than the pull of early morning and open air. The path behind you is quiet. The headland before you is wrapped in the gentle stillness of first light. This is one of the coastal sleep journeys, a series of rests you can return to whenever you need them. There is no pressure here and nothing to keep track of. You are welcome to drift without following every word. Let the sounds and the rhythm carry you wherever you need to go. The mist sits low over the water, not concealing the world, but softening it. The granite cliffs to your left and right emerge as pale gray shapes, their outlines gentle and vague, as if they have not yet decided to be fully present. The horizon has dissolved into the same gray as the sky. There is no clear line between sea and air. Everything blends into a single, quiet tone. The light is the flat, even light of early autumn dawn. No sun yet, no color except pale gray and the faint, dark green of wet stone where the water has left its mark. Everything is present but unhurried, as if the world has not yet decided to begin. The air is cool and damp, the kind of autumn cold that settles on your skin without biting, wrapping around you like a layer you barely notice. You stand still for a moment, breathing in the salt air. It is clean and neutral, carrying only the scent of cold stone and open sea. There is a faint mineral dampness rising from the wet granite beneath your feet, smooth and worn to roundness by centuries of tide and weather. The stones are patient here. They have learned to yield without breaking. The first sounds arrive gradually, weaving into the stillness. The slow draw of the tide over the smooth stones below reaches your ears, a sound like a long, steady exhale. The water moves back, pulls away, and returns in long, unhurried intervals. A faint knock sounds somewhere along the wooden pier as the water moves against its posts. These sounds are not loud. They are simply there, as they have always been. You let your gaze settle on the pier. It is a short, weathered structure of stone and old timber reaching a little way into the water, familiar and still. The wood is dark with age and damp, its surface smoothed by salt and use and time. On the pier, near its center, a length of thick rope lies coiled in a loose, unhurried circle. The fibers are worn soft, the color of wet sand, the edges frayed but not broken. It rests there as if it has always rested there, as if it will always rest there. You move toward the pier, your footsteps quiet on the stones. The granite beneath you is cool and slightly slick with moisture, but your footing is sure. You reach the edge of the pier and settle there, standing or sitting as feels right to you. The wood is solid beneath you. The mist moves around you without hurry. You look out into the gray. There is nothing to see in the distance. The sea is calm. The swell moves in long, slow intervals, rising and falling like the breathing of something vast and unhurried. This is the whole world for now. Stone, mist, salt air, the breathing of the tide. The tide draws back, and the morning holds still. You let your shoulders ease. You let the rhythm of the water settle into your own breath. The mist wraps the headland in softness. The granite cliffs stand quiet and patient on either side. The rope rests on the pier, coiled and waiting for nothing. The sea exhales. You exhale. There is nowhere else to be. You bring your attention now to the rhythm of the swell, which is slow and entirely regular, like the breath of something vast and unhurried. Each swell lifts a little, presses gently against the stone, then draws back with that long exhale over the smooth shore pebbles. The sound is soft, continuous, a presence rather than an interruption. It asks nothing of you except to notice it, and then to let it continue without effort. The pattern repeats. The water lifts. It meets the stone, and then it pulls away, that long, slow breath outward, and the sound of it moving over the pebbles is like something being smoothed over and over with infinite patience. You let your awareness rest on the stones themselves now, the ones that line the shore just beyond where you stand. They are dark and rounded, polished by centuries of this same motion. They are wet, and they catch what little light there is in small, dull gleams. As the water draws back over them, they shift fractionally, a soft, low rattle, then stillness. The sound is low and brief, almost beneath hearing, And then the water returns and the stones settle again into their places. Each time the tide pulls away, there is that faint rattle. Each time it returns, there is only the hush of water meeting stone. The rhythm does not waver. It does not change. The salt air is cool on your face and on the backs of your hands. You notice the temperature of it now, not uncomfortable, just present. It touches your skin with a light, steady pressure, the kind of coolness that does not ask you to turn away from it. It smells of nothing except the sea itself, clean, mineral, faintly cold. There is no sweetness in it, no sharpness, only the scent of open water and stone and the pale air of early morning. You breathe it in and it fills your lungs with that same coolness, and when you breathe out, the air around you does not change. It simply receives your breath and continues as it was. Your attention drifts back to the coiled rope on the pier. It sits exactly where it has been left by someone now gone, wound in easy loops, the fibers thick and slightly stiff with old salt. It asks nothing. It simply rests. The rope has no purpose here except to be what it is, a length of something useful, no longer needed, settled into its place. The loops are even and unhurried. There is no tension in them. They hold their shape without effort. You let your gaze rest on the rope for a long moment, and then you let your gaze move past it, out over the water. The mist shifts very slightly over the surface, not dispersing, just moving in a way that is nearly imperceptible, the way sleep moves at the edge of waking. It does not rise or fall. It does not thicken or thin. It simply drifts, a slow turning in place, and the gray light within it remains the same. The granite cliffs are still there on either side of the cove, their shapes unchanged, neither closer nor farther. They frame the water and the mist and the pier, and they do not move. Everything here is in its place. Everything here has been in its place for longer than you can imagine, and it will remain so long after you have gone. You return now to the rhythm, the one that has been continuing all this time without the swell lifts. The water meets stone, and then the long, slow exhale of the tide pulling back. You listen to it. You let the sound settle into you, the way the mist settles over the water. There is no need to follow it, no need to anticipate it. It will continue. it has always continued. The swell lifts, the water exhales, the stones rattle softly, then fall still. The sound is the steady background against which everything else is quieter still. The air is quiet. The mist is quiet. The cliffs hold their silence without effort. And beneath it all, or perhaps around it all, the tide moves in its patient, unending rhythm. The same rhythm it has followed since long before this morning, since long before this season. You notice that the light has not changed. It is the same pale gray it was when you first arrived, diffuse and even, without shadow. Morning is in no hurry here. The mist and the season and the stone are all in agreement. There is no reason to move beyond this moment. There is no reason to expect anything different from what is already present. The coolness touches your face again, and you feel the weight of your own breath now, slow and even, beginning to match the rhythm of the water. In, and the swell lifts. Out, and the tide draws back over the stones with that soft, endless exhale. You do not need to make this happen. It happens on its own, the way all rhythms find each other when there is enough stillness to allow it. The tide draws back, and the morning holds still. The rope rests in its coils. The stones rest along the shore. The cliffs rest in their places. And you rest here, standing or sitting. It does not matter, held by the rhythm that asks nothing and gives everything. The rise, the meeting, the long, slow return. The swell lifts, the water exhales, the sound moves over the stones and fades into the gray air, and then it begins again, as it always has, as it always will. There is nothing here that needs your attention except this: the breath of the sea, the coolness of the air, the pale light that does not change. Everything else can wait. Everything else is already waiting, patient as the stone, steady as the tide. The wide view of cliffs and mist recedes gently now, and what remains is closer and smaller. You find your attention resting on the surface of the water just below the pier edge, moving in long, quiet undulations. The swell continues as it has been continuing. The exhale of the tide continues, patient and slow. There is no need to look beyond this. The water rises, it falls. and the rhythm holds you without asking anything in return. The granite of the pier beneath your hands is cool and slightly rough at its raised edges, smoother where it has been touched most often. You can feel the texture under your palms if you rest them there, the small unevenness that does not disturb, only reminds you that the stone is real and solid. It holds without effort. It has been holding this place for longer than you need to consider, and it will continue holding long after you have gone. There is a steadiness in that. You do not need to do anything but rest here, supported, present. The water is doing very little now. It rises, it falls. That is enough. The sound of it drawing back over the shore stones comes at long intervals, a slow, hushing breath that travels across the smooth rounds of granite and then fades into the mist. Between each interval, there is near silence, not the silence of absence, but the silence of things at rest. The tide draws back, and the morning holds still. The mist has softened everything at a distance so thoroughly that there is no distance anymore. The world has a gentle edge, just a few meters in every direction. The cliffs you knew were there have dissolved into the gray. The line where water meets sky has blurred into softness. There is only this small space, the pier, the stone, the coiled rope, the surface of the water, close enough to see. This is not a confinement. It is a kind of ease. Nothing is required of the eye. There is nowhere you need to look, nothing you need to find or follow. The world has made itself smaller, quieter, and you're held within it. The rope on the pier is there still, coiled where it has been resting. It has not moved. The thick weave of it catches a little moisture from the air, darkening slightly where the mist has touched it. It is simply there, familiar, a detail that does not demand attention, only accepts it if you choose to let your gaze rest there for a moment. And then your gaze moves on, or does not move at all, and that is just as well. The air is cool on your face and hands. It carries the scent of salt and stone, the faint mineral dampness of wet granite, the clean and neutral scent of open sea air in autumn. The coolness does not press or startle. It settles gently on your skin, a presence that reminds you that you're here, breathing, resting, held by the morning. You breathe in, and the air is cool and clean. You breathe out, and the breath joins the mist. The tide draws back again. the sound soft and long, a slow exhalation over stone. There is a then the next swell arrives, unhurried, lifting the water gently and letting it fall again without force. Your own breath begins to settle into this rhythm, not because you're thinking of it, but because the body knows how to listen. The tide draws back, the breath settles. There is a then the next swell, soft and patient, arriving in its own time. You do not need to hold anything. The stone holds you. The rhythm of the water holds you. The mist wraps the world in softness and holds the edges away. There is nothing here that asks you to decide or follow or understand. There is only this, the cool, rough granite beneath you, the slow rise and fall of water, the gray light that fills the air without brightness or shadow, the sound of the sea drawing back and returning, drawing back and returning. The intervals grow longer, or perhaps they do not, but they feel longer because you are moving more slowly inside them. Each between the swells is a space you can rest in. Each breath of the tide is a long, low note that fades into the stillness. There is no hurry. There is nowhere the water needs to go. There is nothing you need to follow. The morning is holding itself just as it is, and you are part of that holding. The light has not changed. It remains gray and soft, diffuse and directionless, filling the mist without effort. It asks nothing of your eyes. You can let them rest on the water or the stone or the coiled rope, or you can let them close and the gray light will still be there, gentle and even when you open them again. Everything is as it was. Everything is as it will be. There is no shift coming, no change that needs your attention. Only this slow, steady continuation. The tide draws back, and the morning holds still. You are resting now on the stone or beside it, and the coolness of it is familiar. The roughness where your hand touches the granite is familiar. The sound of water over stone is familiar. There is a deep quiet in familiarity. You do not need to learn this place. You do not need to know it differently than you already know it. You are here, and the world is small and soft and patient, and that is enough. The water rises, the water falls, the mist holds the edges away, the stone holds you, the tide breathes its slow exhale, and you breathe with it, and there is nothing else that needs to be done. The tide draws back over the smooth stones, and the sound it makes is soft and slow, Each exhale of water moves over the rounded surfaces, and then the water returns again to the sea. The mist sits low over the water, resting there without moving. The granite headland rises pale and familiar at the edge of the shore, cool and solid, the same as it has always been. The stones beneath you are smooth from the sea's long touch. They hold you without effort. The coolness of them comes through in a gentle way, not sharp, just present. The salt air moves around you with no hurry at all. It carries the scent of stone and water, nothing more. The sounds are fewer now. The knock of water against the pier post comes, and then it goes. The intervals between grow longer. The shore stones shift with the smallest movement of the tide, a faint whisper of stone against stone, and then they are still again. The water moves back, and the stones settle, and everything rests where it is. The light remains the same, gray and soft. It asks nothing of your eyes. It spreads evenly through the mist, coming from everywhere and nowhere. The cliffs exist at the edge of what you can see, pale shapes that have been there since before you arrived. They will remain there long after. They ask nothing, and they offer their quiet presence, worn smooth by centuries, patient and still. The rope rests on the pier, coiled where it has been placed. The pier rests on the water, held by posts that have stood through countless tides. The water rests against the land, touching the stones and the granite and the old wood with the same gentle pressure. Everything is resting. Everything has found its place. Your weight settles deeper into the smooth stones. The heaviness that comes is comfortable. The way these shore stones have grown heavy over long years. They have settled into their places, rounded by water and time, and they do not move unless the sea asks them to. You are like the stones now, rounded and still, resting where you are. The swell moves, the tide exhales, the mist holds still. The stone is cool beneath you. The air is salt and quiet. There is nothing to do here. There is nowhere else to be. The morning holds you the way the shore holds the stones, with patience and without effort. The gray light continues, soft and even. The mist continues, low over the water. The tide continues its slow rhythm, drawing back and returning, drawing back and returning. The knock of water against the pier comes again, softer than before. The space after the sound is longer. The silence between each small sound grows, and the silence is full and restful. It holds everything: the water, the stone, the mist, you. The tide draws back, and the morning holds still. Your body has grown heavier. The stones hold this weight without complaint. They have held the weight of water and wind and mist for more years than you can count. They hold you now with the same steadiness, cool and smooth, solid and patient. They ask nothing of you. The granite headland rises in the mist, pale and familiar. It has always been there. The cliffs do not change. The stone does not hurry. Everything that is here has been here, and everything rests. The water moves back over the stones. Each stone is rounded and cool. Each stone rests against the others. The tide touches them and leaves them and touches them again, and the stones remain. You remain settled and still. The rope on the pier is rough under your awareness, coiled and resting. The wood of the pier is weathered and soft at its edges. The water beneath the pier moves without sound. Everything touches everything else with gentleness. The mist touches the water touches the land. The air touches your skin with cool, salt softness. The sounds are very few now. The tide exhales. The stones whisper. The silence between is long and deep. The silence holds you. The light has not changed. Gray and soft. Enough to see by, not asking anything. The shapes in the mist are pale and still. The headland, the cliffs, the pier, all of them rest in the gray light, patient and worn smooth by time. Your eyes may close, or they may stay open. It makes no difference. The gray light is the same through closed lids, soft, even, restful. The world is the same whether you watch it or not. The tide will continue. The stones will remain. The mist will hold its place over the water. The swell moves. The mist holds still. The stone is cool. Everything rests. There is nowhere else. The smooth stones hold you. The salt air surrounds you. The morning continues in its gray quietness, asking nothing, offering everything. Rest, stillness, the slow exhale of the sea, the weight of your body settling like the stones have settled, rounded and heavy and perfectly still. The water draws back. The stones remain. You remain, resting where you are, heavy and still, cool and quiet, held by the shore, the way the shore has always held what comes to rest upon it. The tide exhales, the morning holds. Everything is still, only warmth and weight remain now, and the slow sound of the tide. The mist is still here, soft at the edges of everything. The stones are beneath you, solid and worn. The pier stands quietly in the gray light, and the rope rests where it has always rested, coiled and still. None of this asks anything of you. All of it simply continues, whether you notice or not. The tide draws back across the stones with that same slow exhale. It has been doing this for longer than you can imagine. It was doing this before you arrived, and it will go on doing this long after you have slipped into sleep. The water needs no witness. It asks for nothing. It simply moves as it has always moved, patient and complete. You breathe in the cool salt air, and somewhere in the rhythm of your own breath, the rhythm of the tide continues. They do not need to match. They do not need to align, but they are both here, both gentle, both part of the same morning. The air is soft on your face. The granite is solid beneath you. The weight of your body is held. The light has not changed. It remains pale and gray, diffuse through the mist, touching nothing harshly. The shapes around you are known now. The headland, the pier, the stones wet and smooth where the water has left them, the coil of rope. All of this is familiar. All of this is enough. Another slow swell rises and falls somewhere beyond the mist. The sound reaches you softly, a distant movement that asks nothing. The water draws back again. The silence that follows is full and quiet. There is no hurry here. There has never been any hurry. Your breath continues. The tide continues. The cool, damp air rests gently on your skin. The stone beneath you holds all the weight you have been carrying. You do not need to hold anything now. The morning holds it all. The world has grown quieter, not because anything has stopped, but because everything has settled into its own rhythm, its own completeness. The mist drifts without purpose. The water moves without effort. The granite rests as it has rested for centuries, worn smooth, patient, unchanged. You are part of this now, part of the stillness, part of the gray light and the salt air and the slow rhythm of water moving over stone. There is nothing left to do, nothing left to notice, only the gentle weight of rest and the quiet that holds you. The tide draws back, the silence deepens. Another swell begins somewhere in the distance, unhurried, certain. The stones know this rhythm, the pier knows it. The rope rests in its coil, damp and still. Everything here knows how to be still. Your eyes may be closed now. The gray light is still there beyond your eyelids, soft and even. The cool air still touches your face. The solid stone still holds you, but all of it is drifting now to the very edge of awareness, gentle and undemanding. The water moves. The water returns. The silence between each wave grows longer, deeper, softer. You do not need to follow it. You do not need to count the swells or notice when one ends and another begins. It will all continue without you. The warmth settles deeper into your limbs. The weight of your body sinks into the stone. The tide exhales again, that same slow sound, drawing back across smooth granite, leaving silence in its wake. Everything is known now. The tide, the stone, the pale gray light, the stillness. All of it here, all of it gentle, all of it holding you as you rest. The morning continues. The mist drifts. The water moves and returns and moves again. The granite remains. The rope rests on the pier, and you rest here, held by all of it, part of the quiet, part of the rhythm, part of the slow and patient morning. The sound of the water drawing back, the silence after, the next slow swell already beginning somewhere beyond the mist, the weight of rest, the quiet. Only this now, only the gentle rhythm, only the stillness, only rest.